Hi everyone. Today, our group, Lunagene, will talk about curriculum development for competency-based education. This presentation is based on a 2015 study titled Professional Task-Based Curriculum Development for Distance Education Practitioners at a Master's Level, a design-based research. Competency-based education, or CBE, has been around since the 1960s. Today, it's the leading paradigm for innovation in higher education, both at a system level and at the level of learning environments. Many think the reason for this is that CBE is expected to close the gap between the labor market and education. CBE curriculum development uses an analysis of a job or occupation in modern society. Since the 1960s, approaches for CBE curriculum development could be classified into two categories: role-oriented and task-oriented. The role-oriented approach has dominated CBE curriculum development in the last century. This approach examines human skills and abilities needed to perform a job successfully. Then, a competency framework or model is created for roles of the occupation. This framework, in turn, serves as a curriculum guide for an educational program. Typical methods for the role-oriented approach are Delphi and developing a curriculum, or DACUM. The advantages to these two methods are that they collect the knowledge of experts for curriculum development, and that the competency model that results could give a clear profile of competencies and skills to be included in courses. The weaknesses, however, are that they lack clear guidelines for translating competencies to teaching and for connecting the competency model with the work environment. These methods also lack in defining a clear map for the progression through a program. Since the 2000s, the task-oriented approach has been advocated to overcome the drawbacks of the role-oriented approach. In the task-oriented approach, a wider definition of competency is used. In this definition, competency is regarded as the integrated abilities required to cope with complex tasks. Task-oriented competency development focuses on the actual tasks for the occupation as well as the work process knowledge in those tasks. Typical methods for task-oriented approaches are professional task development, or PTD, and entrusted professional activities, or EPA. EPA is a task-oriented approach used in medical education. PTD, which came out of vocational education in Germany, is the focus of this presentation. Classic PTD includes 3 steps. First, a vocational analysis, which concentrates on the industry. Second, a professional tasks analysis, which concentrates on the vocational development stages and the critical professional tasks in each stage. And finally, a learning fields analysis, which documents the curriculum as a set of learning fields that reflect the activity fields that make up the work process. The study referred to in this presentation explored the use of PTD for developing a curriculum for a master's degree in distance education. While previous studies for this used the role-oriented approach, this study used a task-oriented approach, specifically PTD. In this study, they performed 2 cycles of design-based research, or DBR. The first DBR used a proposed framework that was developed through literature review. This proposed framework was based on the classic PTD, but it also analyzed the distant learner and subject needs. As a result, a learner analysis step was added. After the data collection and analysis of the first DBR, 2 revisions were made. First, the concept of roles was considered in the professional tasks analysis. This was done to overcome the weakness of the classic PTD approach in a multi-role industry. A role can be defined as a set of behaviors and expectations of a person in one position in relation to those in other positions. The second revision that was added was that the learner analysis was moved up to the second step from its original position of the third step. The study resulted in the creation of a new method called the Distance Education Curriculum Development for Adults, DECDA, which has 5 phases. The first phase is a vocational analysis, which is done through interviews, observations, and literature reviews. It includes 3 tasks: investigating the needs of the marketplace and targeted learners, identifying key roles in the industry related to the education major, and understanding the work process of key roles so that practical experts can be identified for Phase 3. The second phase is a learner analysis, which uses interviews and questionnaires to get a profile of the target group, including prior knowledge and experiences, and learning conditions and needs. The third phase, a practical competency analysis, is usually done through practical expert workshops. This phase is the core of curriculum development and can only be done after it is determined whether the major is related to a single or multiple roles. There are 5 steps in this phase. First, define the professional development stages of each role. Second, list the typical tasks for each stage. Third, identify the critical professional tasks from these typical tasks. Fourth, using the program level and starting points of learners, select the professional tasks required by the program. Finally, describe the selected professional tasks, including names, objectives, requirements for competencies, tools, environment, processes, etc. Each professional task will usually be the basis for one professional course. The fourth phase in DECDA is that curricula are documented as sets of learning fields that reflect the activity fields of professional tasks. In this phase, subject needs and basic theoretical courses are also considered. The work involved in this phase include basic course planning, professional course planning, and design of a flexible curriculum structure. And finally, Phase 5 involves the implementation, evaluation, and revision of the curriculum. This phase includes putting a mechanism in place for evaluations and revisions, implementing the teaching plan, collecting evaluations and feedback, and finally, deciding if and how to revise the curriculum according to evaluations. We hope that you found this exploration into curriculum development for competency-based education both exciting and useful. Have a great day.